Hey folks, in this video I'm going to show you a technique you can use when you're cooking steaks that will make them come out a little more tender, flavorful, and juicy. I've just got 3 ingredients. I've got a couple steaks here. These are New York strips. They're just a little over 12 ounces each. I've got some coarse kosher salt, and I've got some black pepper that I'll be grinding up. First step is take a paper towel and just pat the steaks dry on both sides. You want to get all the excess moisture off of them, and we'll be ready to apply the salt and the pepper. Next step is just to hit these with a little of this kosher salt on both sides. You want to coat them pretty liberally. Don't be afraid, these steaks can handle a little bit of salt. Before I turn them over, I'm going to give them a little bit of black pepper. And this is sort of coarse. So now the steaks are seasoned up, but they're not ready to go on the grill, because this is not just seasoning. We're actually going to dry brine these steaks for a few hours before we cook them. If you'll notice, I've got them on a cooling rack here just over top of a regular little baking sheet. That's vital that you do that, because you want them to be elevated so that they can get some airflow under them as well. I'm going to stick these in the refrigerator just like this for at least a couple hours. If you could do it overnight, up to 12 hours or something would be great, but if you can do it at least an hour or two, that's enough to really impact the flavor. And what's going to happen is this salt will sort of draw some of the juices of the steak out, and it'll absorb the salt, and the steaks actually will kind of absorb that back. It's going to make it more tender, it's going to give it some good flavor, and it's going to help it be really juicy when you cook it. So I've taken these 2 steaks out of the refrigerator after a couple hours, and I just wanted to show them to you. If you notice, the color is a little darker where they've kind of dried in the air, and I'm going to let them sit here and just kind of come up to temp a little bit, and once they do that for about a half hour, I'll put them on the grill. I'll go ahead and put these guys on here and let them start searing. I like to mash mine down just a little bit to the grate. Some folks do that and some don't. I think it helps put a nicer sear on there. It's time to go ahead and flip these steaks. Just a little tip, when you grab a hold of it down here and it's still sticking to the grate, it's not ready. These are more than ready, so I'll go ahead and flip them over, give them a little sear on the other side. I want to get them nice and brown, and we'll put them over here and finish them indirectly in just a few minutes. Folks, I got these finished searing on that side, so I'll move them over here and finish them indirectly. I'm not going to leave these on here much longer. They're not very thick. They're a little over 12 ounces each. Now I brought these in from the grill, and I'm going to finish them with just a little pat of butter on each, and I'll let these rest for just a few minutes before we cut into them. This guy is ready to eat, and yes, those are raw onions that I'm going to put on my steak, just mine, not Shauna's. I'm going to cut into it and try it out. That was some excellent flavor. It was juicy, seasoned just right. It was tender, and it picked up some good flavor from the charcoal. I'm a Weber Kettle man, and I'll cook most of my steaks on it. I'll cook them inside in a skillet occasionally or something, but most of my steaks come off of the Weber Kettle. So give this a try. I did mine for about 2 hours. The longer you do it, probably the better. I would shoot for maybe 12 hours, or do it in the morning before you go to work, and you can cook it when you get home. Do it overnight, something of that nature. But if you can just do it for an hour or two, it definitely will affect it, and it will make it better.